Shalom, first and foremost, like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who would teach this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakims out there on four corners of the earth to proclaim this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukal Kadash, Bracha Tum. So this is part 2 of just a bunch of things that are going on right now that, the United States, Amalek, because that's who really runs the United States, the whore, Babylon the Great, has, pretty much kidnapped a press TV journalist, as well as, preparing for new chemical attacks in Syria, in the Idlib province. So they're looking for a provocation to do more attacks against Syria, so that's what these terrorists are planning. While still more terrorist attacks happen in Manbij, which they'll blame the terror groups, but they won't tell you that the United States backs them. No, of course not. Muskel, Syrian Arab News Agency, reports, a Russia source said that the terrorist organizations are preparing to carry out new attacks using chemical weapons and toxic materials against civilians and army units in the Idlib province. Internet Facts news agencies on Tuesday quoted the source as saying that the terrorists are preparing for a new chemical attack at Marif al-Numan area in the Idlib province, and they are storing toxic weapons in several warehouses in the Idlib province in the far countryside of Latakia. The source said that the terror organizations of Amalek al-Qaqqas and Jabhat al-Azza and Turkestani Party are preparing for a series of synchronized attacks with chemical weapons in the provinces of Latakia, Idlib, Aleppo, and Hama, using shells and mines loaded with toxic materials as well as drones. The source said the terrorists have shipped 500 liters of chemicals to Abu al-Duha area in Idlib and Al-Fafa, north of Hama. The source also pointed in late December 2018, terrorists arrived in Ara area in Idlib with the assistance of a foreign intelligence agency to make shells loaded with toxic chemicals, and they were tasked with carrying out attacks against civilians to frame the Syrian Arab army in mass media and social networking sites. So, be prepared for the next false flag. Oh wait, there's more. Syrian Arab Army conducts operations against terrorist positions in the Idlib countryside. So there you go. Just as soon as they start to gain ground, that's when they try to roll out their chemical attack, because they're losing, in Syria. Because the Syrian Arab Army is pretty much taking control of the country. Units of the Syrian Arab Army on Friday carried out operations against positions of terrorist groups on the outskirts of the towns of Jaruz al-Kafi and Al-Qaid in southern countryside of Idlib, inflicting heavy losses upon them in personnel and arms, Syrian Arab News Agency reporter said. The reporter added that the army units thwarted an infiltration attempt by terrorist groups of the so-called Al-Izza Brigade from the Latuna city towards the safe villages and the neighboring military ports. So pretty much, while this has been supposed to be the de-escalation zone, well, it's just helping them so that way they can provocate the next false flag. At the outskirts of Al-Zira town in Al-Gab Valley in the northern countryside of Hama, reporters said that the vehicle of the so-called White Helmets was destroyed as it entered a field of landmines planted by Tuscany organization terrorists. So pretty much, that's what the White Helmets really are about, not the so-called, peace-loving people that America likes. Oh, well, then again, I think that the American image is just about destroyed now that they're kidnapping news agencies that actually tell the truth. As if this government has any credibility anyway. You can't believe anything they tell you.
Militants are preparing a new chemical attack in the Ma'aret al-Numan area in the province of Idlib, the Interfax news agency reported on January 15th, citing an informed source. According to the source, militants store toxic chemicals in several warehouses across Idlib province and the far northern part of Latakia province. The source stressed that Ajnad al-Caucasus, Jaish al-Islam, and the Turkestan Islamic Party, all of which are linked to Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, are preparing for a series of synchronized chemical attacks in the provinces of Latakia, Idlib, Aleppo, and Hama. According to the report, militants will use shells and mortar mines, as well as drones loaded with toxic materials. The same report said that militants have shipped 500 litres of chemicals to the Abu al-Duhur and Halfaya areas within the Idlib de-escalation zone. The source added that in December 2018, some 30 militants arrived in the Arya area in Idlib province to make shells loaded with toxic chemicals. These militants reportedly receive assistance from foreign intelligence agencies. The very same militants were reportedly tasked with carrying out chemical attacks on civilians. These pre-planned incidents will then be used to accuse the Syrian army of attacking civilians with chemical weapons. A U.S. military convoy, consisting of about 100 vehicles, has entered Syria from Iraq's Kurdistan region, the pro-opposition Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, SOHR, reported on January 15th. According to the report, the column included multiple vehicles and logistic equipment for U.S.-led coalition bases in the eastern Euphrates region. This development comes amid growing uncertainty over the expected withdrawal of U.S. forces from Syria.
They were never going to withdraw.
The continued supply of military equipment to U.S.-led coalition bases and Kurdish armed groups in northeastern Syria confirms that the alleged withdrawal is not going to take place in the immediate future. Meanwhile, the US and Turkey are negotiating the creation of a 32-kilometer safe zone in northern Syria. According to reports, this zone could become part of a US-Turkish deal to prevent Ankara's attack on US-backed Kurdish groups in the area.
So you see this war, it was never meant to end anyways. So pretty much what's happening is the United States is actually moving further into Syria. They were never going to withdraw, you know, as if we, the elect, actually believe anything that the government says. Nah, man, you know, we know that this war will escalate till the destruction of Damascus completely, as well as pretty much the destruction of East Edom. And as stated before, you know, they really want their war with Persia, with Iran, and that's why they've kidnapped Press TV reporter. So here's what's going on in Manbij, the same area that the United States is using these terrorist groups to say, oh, well, we're fighting ISIS, you know, da-da-da. Nah, man, the U.S. is backing ISIS, always has. So here's humanitarian aid sent by the Russian military. Meantime, you have Donald J. Trump over here, ready to starve the people.
Народы Сирийской Арабской Республики. Это новый район на севере Манбijского района, но за последние трое суток проводится здесь уже вторая акция такого рода. Но местные люди знают уже, что российские военнослужащие приезжают не с пустыми руками. На сегодняшней акции мы подготовили 500 гуманитарных продовольственных наборов, в состав которых входят консервы мясные, сахар, мука, рис и чай. 300 теплых детских одеял, которые имеют очень большую ценность в холодное время года. И, конечно, мы привезли сегодня местному населению.
America would never do such nice things. No, in fact, you can take a furlough.
И заводы по производству данного продукта.
Meanwhile, them bastards will fucking kick you out of your home if you have one. So who's really trying to rebuild Syria and who's destroying Syria? Well, it's not the United States rebuilding them, that's for sure.
Totally, they could pick you up. And
so pretty much, these are live events that have been happening on Press TV. You know, the fact that, see, she's married to a Jake. So you see how this, because, again, you know, like I mentioned about the, you know, the fact that Jake was doing pretty prosperous during the Persian Empire, you know, with King Darius, and you know, the fact that we was actually sticking to Amalek.
They're still going through phases of trying to
still see, though, that we're very much there.
The laws that restrict us. They're trying to do it over the internet through their control of Facebook, which they already have, but they're trying to legalize it. They're already doing it across their mainstream media. You can't get on and say things without them vetting you first. So rather than, you know, editing or cutting you, they're not even letting you on to have an alternative view to what the mainstream standard government or neoliberal, neoconservative line is.
And keep in mind, though, Press TV is one of the few that's left. They already took Syrian Arab News Agency off of there.
To scare people.
They took Syria TV channels down.
What is the truth, which is that the U.S. government, the Western imperialist nations, are going and raping and pillaging and killing people across the world for their economic benefits, and everything they talk about in terms of their ethics and their morality and their democracy and their British values and their American values is, at the end of the day, only a means to an end to keep their own public subdued and controlled as well from actually speaking out about the tyranny that they're exercising across the world.
Now, Mr. Abbas, let's not forget that Marzia was not just any random journalist. She was a very well-known journalist and documentary filmmaker, internationally speaking. She has a very wide network of people who are in touch with her and who know her very well, and because of course, her expertise and many years in the business, this is going to be definitely very costly for the U.S. government. Why would they put themselves in such a position?
Because we have a belligerent fascism, and there are people who are really in control of the Congress and of the House of Representatives. So basically,
which are Zionists, the Amalekites.
They want conflict. They want conflict not only in the Middle East, but actually they want to blow back in the West. I read the situation as such. Basically, the so-called First World, the Europeans and the Westerns, who had for several centuries now had it really good, and where basically the moneylenders have effectively controlled the world from, they're actually being brought down to size as well. So let's not forget the conflict you see in terms of Brexit, Britain leaving Europe.
And that right there, you can see how council is pretty much vanished from the prudent, and that pretty much the whole system is coming down. For you can see, though, that pretty much the Most High is the one that's bring this all to light, because the light hasn't come out before he finally judges this place. And we already know about the history of America, which is Basra in these scriptures here. You know, especially here in Jeremiah chapter 49, you know, that pretty much because of what they did to us, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, especially Gad, you know, when they had brought the sword against us, but pretty much all of us, you know, we were not to drink of it, but we surely did. It says in verse 11, "Leave thy fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me." You know, again, you know, some are going to be kept alive and cast in the lake of fire. That's why a lot of the people that have been assholes to you is like, why can't these fucking assholes die? Because they will be cast alive into the lake of fire, which is this judgment. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken. And art thou he that go altogether unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. You know, and that's what's going to happen. For I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, that Basra, which is America, shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. And that is talking about the thermonuclear destruction. For these Edomites and these wicked are going to be cast alive into this. They're going to see the missiles coming down. So, again, you know, this is what we're looking forward to. you know, pretty much, we're that ambassador, verse 14. I have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to battle, which is what is happening now. Hope this has been edifying. Shalom.